overall evaluation of the outside showing in London of Tempest. Once we arrived and we saw the stage and the whole space, we were, including myself, a lot of us were really worried about the stage in terms of like its size and shape. We thought it was very small, and we were worried that a lot of the set of the props wouldn't fit on stage. We wouldn't get it all on. We wouldn't have enough space to move around as our characters, and it definitely limited us a lot. And mainly because it was a new area, we'd never performed out here before. We were always so used to performing in Nescott, in the theatre. And oh god, in terms of the noises, so the wind, the traffic, the rain that happened a couple of times, not to mention people walking by and talking, and yeah, we were worried that people would even like people walking by on the street would actually come near the set or come near the stage or the audience and kind of ruin it. But fortunately, we didn't have that problem. In terms of the space outside, when the aristocracy came on, especially for the for Act 2, Scene 3, I believe, or Act 2, Scene 2, when the aristocracies first come on stage by themselves after the shipwreck, of course, we had the grass, which was right behind the audience, this massive field, and we went behind the building, behind the set backstage, went around, and then we just walked on the field, and we had a lot of time to kill until our scene came up, but we stayed in character the whole time. When we were backstage, me, Tom, Ella, and Harry spoke about, all right, let's improvise, let's come up with our own lines, let's pretend that we are exploring the island, and our conversations are leading up to what will be happening in the scene itself. When we were out there on the field, I was really, really proud of myself and the rest of us because we were coming up with our own lines. We stuck to our accents. Me and Ella were talking as about my plan to me, a part of me not liking my brother's leadership in terms of him being king, and she even hinted that I should take over. In a way, kind of foreshadowing obviously the scene we knew was coming, but the way we played around with it was as if we were just foreshadowing it to ourselves. Harry was really good. He was walking around with his notepad, literally just looking off into the distance and just pretending to take notes. There was a little hill Tom stood on, and he put one knee over this rock that was on the hill, and he was looking out to the distance as if a king looking out to where his people are, looking as if he's making his next move. And me and Ella were just walking around, plotting and scheming. And what I liked about it was I liked how I was proud of myself because when we were behind there, the audience did start to turn around. Some members of the audience turned around thinking, okay, what are these guys doing? And I think they clocked that we were in character and we weren't just waiting to go on stage and perform. When that happened, I did panic a bit. I struggled because I wanted to look around. I wanted to make sure they could also see my face as well as thinking that we're not just waiting for our scene. But when I was looking around, I tried so hard not to catch the eye of anyone. So I was trying hard not to look into anyone's eyes. If an actor on TV or a film is looking into the camera's eye. I think I could have been more physical. Sometimes when I was talking to Ella as Antonia, I could have been more physical with my movement. So some of the audience members who were watching us behind the where they were sitting, they could have been guessing or kind of knowing what we were talking about. When we finally got on stage, we were lucky because I thought we were going to miss it. We nearly missed our opportunity. So we were still in the field when it was our time to go on stage, but we took our time with it, and I think in a way that kind of benefited us, so it didn't look rushed. Because it kind of gave the rest of the audience a chance to look around thinking, wait, where's the rest of the actors? When are these people coming on? And they looked around and they saw us slowly coming on. So I think it looked pretty good. When we were up there, all I could hear was the wind, and it was really hard for me to hear what a lot of people were saying. I was so glad that I properly memorised my lines in terms of when my cues were as well, because I could barely hear what people were saying, but I memorised the order. So, for example, so Harry would say something, then Tom would say something, then I'd say something. I couldn't hear what Harry was saying, so I'd look at Tom. When he'd start speaking, I'd think, okay, I'm next after him. I've got to wait till he stops speaking, and then I wait to see when he stops moving his lips, and that's when I talk. There were a few times where I went before my cue because he was taking pauses, and I think that was definitely an error. But at first I thought that my projection was good, but then afterwards we had one of the teachers come around and say, they could barely hear us. And I personally started panicking, and I was a bit annoyed because I was thinking, I was really trying hard, but I need to clearly try harder because they can't hear us. And I thought I need to be clearer as well. I need to work on my diction, not just my volume. After that, when we looked at, what was it? Act 3, Scene 3, we once again came from behind the audience, but this time me and Ella were obviously walking through the audience to come on stage. It was good to somewhat interact with the audience in a way, I guess, because the aerials were near the audience as well, in the audience, sorry, so they were interacting with us, and it was really hard not to bump into anyone. I tried not to, but my sword actually hit Megan and Chloe a couple of times as I was walking down to the audience. Knowing that I needed to project more and last time wasn't enough kind of held me back a bit, and I was worrying that I wouldn't be heard, so that kind of distracted me. I kind of let it get to me, and I feel like it interfered with my performance a bit. In terms of our last scene, Act 5, I was happy with my movement and my improvisation in terms of what I did while the rest of the characters were talking as the rest of the scene was unfolding. But once again, I only had a few lines, but once again my projection could have been improved upon. Me and Ella on stage, I feel like we had good chemistry throughout the whole thing. We were able to keep that constant plotting and scheming clear, the fact that we had our own goals pretty clear. I loved working with Harry. He was really focused on stage, and he didn't let the fact that our projection wasn't heard get to him. Tom adapted to the play really well, considering how little time he had compared to the rest of us. Overall, it was a really fun and challenging experience, and I'd love to do something like that again in the future if we ever do go outside and do an outdoor showing again, because it was a lot of fun. Other than that, I think in terms of other performances, not just outside, when given feedback, before even giving the feedback, I need to think, okay, if what I'm doing, if I think that's enough, I need to double it, because I thought I was being heard, but clearly I wasn't, so I need to focus more on doubling my effort. So in terms of being more physical, being louder, being clearer, I need to definitely think about that and use it for the future, because I think it's good advice, and this was definitely a good learning experience as well as a fun experience to do. Yeah.